This is a match made in hell because one side's trying to consider the economics and the other side doesn't even care about it, which is why a lot of these...
No, the other side cares about the economics of the writers. See, you're just caring about the economics of the fucking rich guys. You're caring about the economics of Bob Iger and David Zaslav. Writers Guild is concerned about the economics of the writers. All right, we're going to get to the main event, because we're going to cover this guy. Because you know what? I don't cover Mr. Eric July that often. Actual Fandom just released his big comprehensive video on him, so I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and cover him a bit. I haven't covered him in a while, despite, having a conversation with him a while ago. A pleasant conversation where things went very well. It was a very nice conversation. And what was great about the conversation is that Eric July at no point, like after the discussion, did he lie about my relationship with my kids or slander me in any way.
Wife's boyfriend left your bitch ass and took the kids, said he shared custody. We know what the fuck that mean. You ain't sharing no damn custody. We already know what that mean. Tyrone raising them damn kids.
It was just a frank, honest thing. It was nice. I will admit, part of the reason I don't cover him because I find him fucking boring. All right, so I guess he's got these video titles. He's right. A reason for optimism. Okay, I'll give you, this is actually a video title that tells me something. More ISOM number 2 reviews are in. Here's what people are saying. Then this one, tough. And I'm assuming it's Blue Beetle. This is, you really tried to snitch on my employees. Who do these people think they are? Ha ha, this is why unions are... Ooh. Is he going to bash on unions? Let's see. I'm going to look at his union video, and then we're going to open it up to requests, guys. So, here we go.
Unions are corny. This has long been my position, and...
Your position is that unions are corny. That's a really well thought out and thoughtful position. Go ahead. Explain why workers having collective bargaining rights against multi-billion-dollar companies is corny.
It's really remarkable how this sort of ahistorical, nonsensical approach that a lot of people have with unions, where they look at it as a net positive. They look at it as if, well, if it didn't exist, there would be workers' abuse, and it's just pro-workers all.
Absolutely. The problem with our country is that we don't have enough unions. We don't. We need more. There's too many places not unionized. Walmart needs a union. Absolutely. We need more. Honestly, if I had it my way, every place would be unionized. Obviously, small businesses might hold an exception. But any place that has, enough employees, probably 100 or more, should probably have some sort of union in place.
All for the workers in solidarity is a falsehood. It's just never been the case. It's a mafia-esque kind of organization.
Are you going to come substantiate any of this, or are you just going to say shit?
You will, because in a lot of cases, depending on your industry, you're almost forced, or let's say coerced, maybe extorted, to enter into this.
Yes. That's part of how it works. You have to be part of the union to work, because that's part of how it works. It's collective bargaining power. If people are able to just opt out, then there's no power.
Be in that industry to enter into this union. And on
that being said, in right-to-work states, joining the union is optional, but unions will offer that ability if possible, and try to work with the people who are willing. I think Kentucky, just south of here, is a right-to-work state, and my union does work with people in Kentucky and does have members of people in Kentucky. They try to help them out down there as much as they can. But obviously they're more headquarters in states like this one, Ohio, which isn't right to work. And can obviously be a bit more centralized in that way.
On the other hand, it's very communistic in the sake that, and that's what we're going to be discussing here, the individual is the last person that is considered. And the fact that there are people that...
Well, the last thing that is considered, yes and no. Because, the thing to understand is also for a big corporation, the individual doesn't really mean shit. Even if you're the best worker in the world, a giant multi-billion-dollar corporation could fire you in a heartbeat and not give a shit. Just not give a shit. However, if you're in a collective and you could just, all the people who work for that company could just stop at once, then you have a bit more power.
That actually advocate this, it's hard.
Did they actually unionize Taki 75? I knew they were talking about it. I don't know if they officially unionized yet.
For me to feel bad for them when the union backfires, and being a part of that union sort of backfires, I guess, unless they're extorted. Which, again, take that in whatever way that you may. Today's story.
Are you going to substantiate anything?
We're going to be covering. This is reported by Variety. And I'm not even going to read the headline. Let's read what it says, and it just makes my point. Writers Guild of America responded on Tuesday to the latest proposal from the studios as the sides.
Oh, wow. So he's just going to go ahead and take the... When was this done? Was this done just the other day? 6 days? No? This wasn't super recent, was it? Yeah, no, that was like 2 days ago. So he can't be talked about that one. Still, I want to state, he's bashing the Writers Guild, which just means he's taking the corporation's side right now. He is arguing for Disney, for Warner Brothers, for Universal, for all these big corporations they claim they're against. Eric July is arguing for him right now. Amazon, Netflix, he's arguing for him right now.
Continue to resolve the 3-month-old writer strike, while the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers has made some concessions, including agreeing to provide streaming viewership data. The studio group has not agreed to a key WGA demand for a minimum staff size. So the union, or the Writers Guild of America, is saying that they need a minimum staff size requirement for the writers' room.
Yeah, no, this is common for unions. One other thing the union want is they want more jobs and more hours for those people. They essentially want more working people. And honestly, the union would be willing to accept like hours cut as long as the pay is raised to compensate. But companies are almost never willing to pay raise people to give them less powers. So union will usually just fight for the more hours.
The AM, PTP, at first refused to even consider the idea, but in the latest proposal, it offered to give showrunners flexibility to hire a certain number of writers depending on the budget of the show. Which goes to show this is a match made in hell, because one side's trying to consider the economics and the other side doesn't even care about it, which is why a lot of these...
No, the other side cares about the economics of the writers. See, you're just caring about the economics of the fucking rich guys. You're caring about the economics of Bob Iger and David Zaslav. Writers Guild is concerned about the economics of the writers.
These guys will not go out on their own and be a part of the solution to the problems it is that they're griping about. That applies to both writers as well.
I'm certain they've worked on indie projects. They might be working on indie projects right now while they're picketing. You don't know that, Eric. You're just assuming something.
As the actors and actresses. The WGA, meanwhile, has continued to make it clear that it wants a fixed minimum staff size for all shows.
Yeah, for like these big companies, like the big old advertisements you got here, the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was a show made by Amazon that was fairly successful. So obviously what you want to do is you want to set it up so like such a show would have a minimum staff size to mean less stress for the writers, meaning higher quality of writing, less work being required for each writer.
Two sides remain at odds on a host of other issues as well, but the TV staff size proposal is shaping up to be a key hurdle to get.
I've seen a little bit of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I've liked what I've seen, but I've not seen a whole lot. I would hardly consider myself an expert. But yeah, it's just the obvious example right now.
In agreement. The WGA places a premium on solidarity, but this is the important part. But within the guild, there's been some private dissent over the proposal.
Yes, Eric. There will be people who disagree with the overall voice of the union, but the idea is that everybody has to agree, or at least a majority has to agree to move forward on the proposal.
With some showrunners telling Variety that they think it is the wrong fight and should not be the reason the strike is prolonged.
Yes, there are dissenting people within the union. There are people who might disagree with the decisions the union makes, but they will tell their disagreement to the union. They honestly shouldn't be telling it to Variety, frankly. I think that's pretty shitty. But they will voice their dissent to the union, and the union, maybe they bring it to a vote, maybe they don't. But yeah, the union will decide this thing as a group.
The guild includes 11,500 members, and in a group so large, it's natural that not everyone is going to see eye to eye on every.
There, you just read it. You just read it. Yes, in a group so large, not everyone's going to agree. Facts.
Issue, but Variety spoke with 7 writers with varying levels of experience, including several current and former showrunners, who were willing to explain their opposition to the condition, or on the condition, in anonymity. So basically, they are against this, and they. Like, this sets it up perfectly. You couldn't have teed this up better. What's happening right here is that the union is negotiating on their behalf, which is what unions do, right? And you crack smokers think that this is a preferable situation. That the unions speak on your behalf, they negotiate on your behalf, and no matter if you think it's a bad idea, no matter how stupid you think it is, well, because you're a part of it and this is the deal that you're in, this is what has to happen. Because they know better.
It's collective bargaining, so you make decisions based on a collective unit, not by yourself. Because as a collective unit, you are stronger, you have more power from the company. Because that's the thing. So, like, if you were individual and you wanted higher wages, you could just walk out and the company would let you go. Union, on the other hand, if they want higher wages, they walked out and now there's no rioting happening in the Hollywood system. There's no rioting happening. There's no acting happening because SAG's on strike too. They've effectively shut down Hollywood. If they didn't have the union, they wouldn't have that power. It would just be individual people quitting, which is the power of the union.
Better, right? The fund, you're paying them, remember? Well, you kind of being extorted to pay for it, but you're paying for them out of your fees. You're paying these union fees out of your paychecks.
Yeah, it's a fraction of what you would lose if you didn't have the union.
And they're negotiating on your behalf. What? See, no matter what it is, I just can't imagine being like either negotiating it myself.
He is quite stupid, isn't he? Like, like most of his shit, like it was like when I was debating him. Like, it's like all like this, like I'm getting like that's his angle. Like I'm gonna get mad and I'm gonna be frustrated. But like that's all he fucking got. That's all he's fucking got. He doesn't have any actual points or logic or reason. This is dumb.
But me having the ultimate say, right? I'm not talking about in terms of representation, like lawyers, maybe even an agent. I'm speaking more to, like, you have a group idea, let's say that, and they're the ones negotiating on your behalf, and it's impacting your paychecks. To me, that's insane. The fact that there are people that...
For the actors and writers who have done better, the union will be asking them to pay into the system so that they can pay or at least support the people who make less money. Union helps you with your bills and shit like that when you're on strike. That's also part of the power of the union.
Would willingly join into that is nuts to me. But this is the problem with it right here, in that you guys, there are people, for example, that are part of these guilds or part of these unions, and they want to work, for example. And right now you're striking. So you can't make money. And now...
Well, I mean, I just explained that to you, Eric. That's part of the power. See, when you're paying into the union, it's not just like, there are certain things the union is allowed to designate that money for. It depends. But part of the reason you pay into the union is so when you come into a situation like a strike, that money can get redistributed and people don't lose their homes.
Imagine being in that situation. You can't make money. You want to go make money. You have no problem going to work, but you can't make money because the union has decided collectively that all of y'all must strike. And then on top of that...
Yes, for the greater good, to get the studio to pay you more money, more specifically, pay you what you're worth.
They're negotiating this deal because that's the reason that they're saying they're striking. They're negotiating the deal, and then it's having terms that you vehemently disagree with. Vehemently just say this is...
There will be dissenting voices, that's for sure, but they're paying their dues. They're part of the union.
No, you don't want it. See,
I mean, are you advocating that people become scabs? Because that's real fucking shitty.
only one actual solution to this stuff. And it doesn't matter what the industry is. But particularly in this one, where you have some of the top guys have a lot of money.
Yes, and you are advocating for them right now. You are advocating for David Zaslav and the Bob Igors of the world. You are making a video in support of them right now. You're doing it kind of backhanded. You're not doing it directly. But by shitting on the unions, that's what you're doing.
In these unions. If you want, let's say, to negotiate... No, let me take a step back. Be a part of the solution by actually forking over the cost, which is really what's happening here. I've made this point before. Well, what they want, studios suck. But what they want is for the studios to be the ones forking over the money, regardless if they hand it over regardless if they're losing or not. So if they have a project.
Well, here's the deal. The studio heads took pay raises this year, which is interesting. So they're taking pay raises, but complaining about how they're losing money. Is that interesting? It's almost like something's wrong. They're full of shit.
That happens. They want to get paid. They want to guarantee sort of compensation. That's why it's so attractive to have these mega producers and mega corporations to still exist, no matter how much they dislike them, because they know it's the only institution that can pay them like that, despite losing millions upon millions of dollars in any given time. It's like they want them to assume the risk. They can afford to assume the risk, and they want to benefit from it. See, it's a lot of risk.
They're taking pay raises. They're taking pay raises, Eric. Let me pull this up real fast. I pulled it up before. I will continue to pull it up while this is relevant. I'm grateful this article is still up. CNBC, thank you for this article. I'm getting so much use from it. Anyways, top studio exec made $500 million over the past 5 years, and that's David Zaslav. Ari Emanuel, Endeavor Group, he made $350 million over the past 5 years. Reed Hastings made over $200 million over the past 5 years. Bob Iger made almost $200 million over the past 5 years. These guys are rolling in the fucking dough, and they took pay raises last year. And now all of a sudden they're so poor they can't pay these writers a fair wage. It smells like bullshit to me, Eric. It smells like fucking bullshit.
Risk that comes with doing it by yourself. You can correct the problems though if you actually have issues with them. But see, they're too chicken shit to do.
Well, it also seems like his argument is also there should be you should just do independent stuff, which they 100% might be. In fact, I can guarantee you some of them are. There are many independent studios who have made deals with the writers and the actors and are still working. I think A24 did. Let me look this up exactly before I say anything. All right, so here from Variety as well. This was July 18th. SAG-AFTRA approves 39 indie projects to shoot during strike, including 2 A24 films. SAG-AFTRA has granted approval, 39 independent projects. The list includes 2 projects from A24, the independent production company Mother Mary, starring Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cola. I'm slaughtering that, I know. Death of a Unicorn, starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. So these people probably are on picket line because they're working. Here's a list of projects, including starring Matthew McConaughey, Mark Wahlberg, Mel Gibson, Mads Mikkelsen, Sigourney Weaver, Rebel Wilson. Keep in mind, these are people you haven't seen on the picket line because they're currently working on independent movies. Independent movies are still fucking happening. You're acting like they're not. They are. Independent movies have worked with these people, made deals during the strike so they can work. The movie Death of a Unicorn. It's just a Paul Rudd movie from A24. A24 seems a little bit base as a company. We'll see how it goes. It seems like every time a company will start out base and then, like, as time goes by, it gets shittier. But yeah.
Do that.
Oh, that was it. Okay. Eric July. Dude, you're dumb. Like, you're so dumb. Like, I was able to debunk most of what you said just, like, casually off the top of my head, just knowing union shit like I do. But, like, you know, basic research would debunk your shit. Like, and not only that, but, like, you're obviously just advocating for the studio executives right now. You're fighting their fight for them. It's pretty cringe, man. It's pretty bad. Not a great take from you. Not a great take.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.